the major bike companies do not want you to know this. The vast majority of mountain bikers out there should not be buying the latest bike. I'm going to explain exactly why that is, what you should do if you're currently looking at new bikes, and how I would invest my money if I was looking at buying a bike right now. It's becoming so easy these days as a mountain biker to fall into that trap of thinking you need all the newest, latest, greatest tech to be able to keep up with everyone else on the trails. As if buying a new mountain bike is somehow going to instantly make you a better mountain biker. Well, I'm sorry you guys, but it won't. I'll cover some things that will make you a better rider a little bit later on in this video though. And this video all came about as I was comparing the differences between my Polygon that I've been riding and way more expensive Trek bikes. And taking a look at those more expensive bikes, it's easy to see why we all get so excited with that, wireless shifting, wireless dropper post, carbon everything, all the latest, the newest trends that everyone has, like high pivots that can actually still pedal somehow. Some pretty impressive stuff that all these brands are doing. But do you really need it? I used to be obsessed with buying the most expensive bike I could possibly afford. But then I started riding budget bikes. And a lot of my friends would ask me, does that bike really perform good? And my answer is always the same. Yes, the bike performs great, costs half the amount, comes with better spec'd parts sometimes on it. And I think we've gotten to the point in the mountain bike industry to where all these bikes have modern geometry, one-by drivetrains, reliable dropper post, good suspension. Other than upgrading some of the stock OEM parts, like maybe the tires that come on the bike or the saddle, the bikes are pretty much ready to shred right out of the box, regardless of which brand you buy. And every time I'm out on the trails, I meet that guy who's absolutely shredding at the top of all the Strava leaderboards on his bike that he's been riding for the last 10 years. He never bought a new one, never followed all the latest trends, never bought that newest bike just because Trek Specialized, or the guys at Pink Bike, told him he should. And he seems to be having more fun than I am. Now, there are certain things that 10-year-old bike probably doesn't have that you will get if you buy a modern bike, like I talked about, that modern Geo, the one-by drivetrain, just the more reliable components. But there's got to be a better way than buying those high-end brands and blowing all your money on the latest and greatest tech that 90% of the riders out there don't actually need. And that's including me. So if expensive high-tech bikes aren't the answer, then what is? Well, I think first you should start with just riding the bike you currently own. If you got a bike that was, at least back on the 2020, 2021, there's no need to buy a new, 2024 high-tech bike just because they say that they've made a couple minor tweaks that barely, you could barely tell the difference. There's marginal gains for those newer bikes. So either keep your old bike, or let's say you are in the market for a new bike because either A, you don't own a bike right now, or B, you just want to get a bike that's going to allow you to ride those type of trails you're trying to ride. Like you're going up from a hardtail to a full suspension, or you're going up from an XC bike to something like an enduro bike or a more capable trail bike like this T9 back here. Well, that's where I have to recommend buying one of these, budget bikes like the Polygon T9 back here. Or with the current bike market and how much the used bikes prices have just been crashing, go on and find a used bike. And with some of that hard-earned money you're saving, why not put it into something that's actually going to make you a better rider, like some riding skills from like Ninja MTB riding clinics or something like that? You guys agree? You guys feeling me here? leave a comment down below. What's the current bike you have right now? What are some of the new bikes that you've been looking at? Do you really think those bikes would make you better? I know we all want them, but do we actually need them? And I'm guilty as well. You know, I'm preaching to you guys, but maybe I'm making this video more for myself. I fall into that trap all the time. I see the newest Trek Slash with the fancy high pivot and, you know, blah, 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 all those parts and components, and I want it. And trust me, if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I'd have a really hard time if I was going to buy a bike, not buying the very highest spec with all that fancy wireless shifting, wireless dropper post that is neat to have, but it may not be something that you need to have. You feel me? Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of comments with people saying, yeah, I mean, Polygon sends you bikes, so you're making this video. It's more targeted toward budget bikes, and you're just really just trying to get us to buy one of those Polygons. But, I mean, go ahead. Check out this video right here that I made where I compare the Polygon T9 versus the Trek Fuel EX. And tell me, meet me over in that video, and tell me that Polygon is not a better way to go. And honestly, think about it next time you're looking at one of those high-end bikes. Do you really need it? Are you better off just keeping the bike you currently have or buying one of these budget bikes like the Polygons?